Hi folks, welcome to another very special episode of Winners in the Cloud, this time with good friend and human, Phil Gerity. As a long-term veteran of the Winners Cloud family on the show, we'll talk about his career and his journey and how the future of AI shapes Winners Cloud. So let's get started. Welcome everyone at another episode of Winners in the Cloud, and as I said in the intro, I'm very grateful to have Phil here. Hi Phil.
Hey, good to be here.
It's about time, right?
Yeah,
that we do this together.
It's fine.
Hey, can you tell to the audience who you are? You know you very well, of course, but what you do at the Winners Cloud engineering team and such.
Yeah, sure. So Phil Gerity, I lead end user experiences and AI product team for Windows Cloud. So that's across Azure Virtual Desktop and Windows 365.
Yeah, you have been part of this journey from day zero, and we have been gratefully working together on various projects, boot switch, all these different projects. Maybe we can talk about that today as well.
Sure.
What's your history before that, before you joined the team?
Yeah, I had a long time at Microsoft, joined the company back in 2010 full-time, and I had several different business roles and ops roles before getting into product. I left for a little while, went to a startup, and then came back into product in 2015. And I initially worked on something called Partner Center, which is a platform to help partners grow, kind of their businesses in working with Microsoft. So transacting our software, and it was built around cloud software. So we started with Office, and Azure became part of it. And now it's, doing many billions of dollars of revenue for the company and for our partners, a year. I and then worked on a couple of other kind of incubation products, Microsoft Managed Desktop, and that's where I met Scott Manchester, and then Ken and I started Windows 365 back in 2019, 2020, and we kind of grew the team from there.
Yeah, it's a great story, and I love the incubation kind of mindset too, as we are doing that as well in Windows 365, Windows Cloud. And I think that nicely touched on the passion you have in driving incubation and change as part of cloud and AI innovation and things that happen at Ignite.
Yep.
So as part of that career and the things you learn, like what are the things, the live lessons? We all learn things every day. We have a growth mindset, we change, and we adapt learnings and do it for like kind of your own DNA and identity you want to provide you as a person.
Right.
What sticks or has been sticking with you over time, like doing your PM leadership work at Microsoft?
Yeah. So many lessons learned along the way. I think, one of the ones that always sticks out to me is that what we do is really, that there's a technical aspect of building software, but a lot of it is really about humans and relationships and understanding people. And that's a part of it that I think I've gotten reasonably better at over time. And kind of knowing the, not just ourselves, but also our customers, right? And it's kind of having deep empathy for everybody involved. Who's going to use it? What are the personas? What are the problems that they have? And then once we kind of know that, then understanding organizationally, how do we get things done internally? How do we ship the product? And then once it's out the door, how's it working? Is it working? Is it working well? And then helping our customers kind of have a great experience because it's really a partnership that we have with them.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think one of the things you kind of read into that story is like, do work at Microsoft or just in general, like you want to be managed or treated as well, like really with empathy and really with a customer obsession focused, right? Mm-hmm. Like I think that's very important, and that's as well what I see throughout like how you do product management within our team. So it's really awesome to hear. In terms of what you do at work, what do you do outside work? I know we have been doing some hikes together. It's pretty extreme ones, pretty painful ones as well. I remember that in December with snow and ice and everything in between all that.
I was glad it was just you and me, and we were dragging a whole bunch of other people up there because we were we're just getting by the skin of our teeth.
But outside hiking and that like more extreme stuff too, I think push the boundaries on a personal level as well next to product.
Yeah.
What are you doing more?
Yeah. I mean, I played tennis since I was a little kid, so
Yeah.
that's a big thing for me. I've got 2 teenagers, so I'll tag along with them with whatever they want to do. But the last couple of years I've gotten really interested in some side projects, some vibe coding, just kind of building things. I love building things. So anytime I can to get my hands dirty, understand the tech that's out there, and then use it to make something is always a lot of fun. I'm currently working on an app for my kids to help them organize their schoolwork. So that's keeping me busy on nights and weekends.
Yeah, it's cool. I just built my own website for my kid for a local kind of team, a website for the club, just by typing in prompts. And it's like a whole different ball game these days with building an app, just as one human building an app and modifying and debugging just via like a GPT based, or let's say a Copilot based kind of console, right? Like a chat experience.
It's really amazing. It's amazing what you can do, and all the tool. My unsolicited advice on this, if you're trying to get started, is pick a tool. Don't worry about all the tools that you could use. Just pick a tool and and learn it and go with it, and don't worry too much about all of the options that you have to work with. Bolt, B0. Just get started with something that is kind of fun.
Yeah, I love that. It really sits in the frontier firm narrative, right? We've been talking about it at Ignite, like really be cutting edge, try things out. If it doesn't work, maybe don't ship it, right? But really that experimentation layer and finding that grinding that product market fit with customers. I love that. And if you do that personally, I think it's even better because you kind of live and breathe kind of the vision and strategy and kind of the emotion of how we go to customers these days with our products.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So the part of the principles and things you learn, what do you apply on a daily basis and want to kind of share here with the audience and maybe people on the team that watch this as well later on?
Be human, treat people the way you want to be treated. I think, a lot of the things that I do in my job are to try and, as a leader, or try to create clarity for people. So we need to know kind of where we are right now, where we need to get to, and then how to get there. And so that's a big part of my job for the team. I think we do a reasonably good job at that, but there's always room for improvement. It's really hard as leaders to do this, but it's a big part of the job. So.
Well, especially when we start with a small group of people. I remember there were just 10, 15 people, only like a draft on a visual stencil. Yeah. There was no code yet, no customers using it yet. To right now, millions that use it right on a daily basis. A huge shift from incubation, startup to mainstream, and as well very high skill kind of orientated work.
Yeah, we've kind of had two. I mean, any company that's going through a growth trajectory goes through this. But and our team has been very, while we're very connected with the rest of Microsoft, we are very much and have been a startup within Microsoft. And so we've grown the team from, just like you said, like a small group of people who could be in every spec review on every feature. And we could sort of hash it out in the room, and we were very adaptable to, a not small group of people who are distributed all over the world. And that growth in our people has really mirrored the growth in the product. And so a lot of the same patterns you're seeing, it's just one applies to the internal people and one applies to the product, right? In the beginning, you can just put it out there. There's only a few people to use it. You hope for more. But if things break or if you have an outage or something, like, it's not a big deal. Later, it is. Later, like the precision, the that you have, the reliability that you have, the quality, the craft, all of those things just matter a lot more. And the same is true for your team, right? How you communicate. Not everybody can be in the spec reviews. So you just have to have systems and processes in place to make sure that you can bring the group along, internally and externally.
Yeah, I love that. And before we segue into, hey, what's new, what happened at Ignite, one of the stories that really sticks to me is that when we started building this product as a small group to eventually releasing it, or let's say revealing it at Inspire and GAing it a month later, when we revealed it at Inspire, that was when the world was like shut down and started to kind of go open again. And I remember us all being in Red West here in Lexer Redmond.
Yeah.
And that was the moment most of the engineers that built the code saw each other for the first time, right?
Yeah.
So that was a special moment to me as well, that we live and breathe the vision and mindset and the mission statement of our product, that you can work everywhere from any device, any place, all these things. You can as well build the product itself while doing that.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. We've really lived the way and worked the way that we hope our customers can enjoy the product with the product ourselves, and even how we built it.
Okay, well, let's switch gears and talk about today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
So Ignite just happened.
Yeah.
A lot of innovation, probably the most impactful or one of the most impactful Ignites for Windows Cloud for us, the team, since the release, right?
Yeah.
A lot of things happen, hard to keep up, track everything. So around our Windows Cloud and AI story there, can you do a recap? Like, what did we announce there?
Sure.
And what's like the value for customers for that?
Yeah. Well, just hitting some of the highlights. So we had released or announced Reserve before back in April, but we GA'd Reserve. So I think Reserve like an insurance plan, right? If you break, lose, or your laptop is stolen, and you need another device to become productive right away, that's where Reserve comes in, and you get an instant cloud PC to use up to 10 days, just to bridge you between that lost device and the next one that you get. So a lot of really interesting, opportunities for our customers with that. We've been on the journey with Frontline Shared and Frontline Dedicated. We released cloud profiles, which to Frontline Shared brings a level of personalization to those Frontline Shared devices that I think is going to be a perfect pairing that we have there. We have cloud apps. So cloud apps was a big one too. We've now basically between Frontline Shared got kind of the multi-user story figured out. We've got the cloud apps, as well as cloud desktops story. And so it really feels like we have a product truth with Windows 365 that fulfills the breadth of needs that our customers have been asking for, and it's an exciting time to be able to offer that alongside Reserve and the insurance plan type of option that we have there.
And it really modernized if you come from virtualization. In fact, I met a customer earlier today exactly on this point, coming from traditional VI virtualization, multi-user, to simplify it to a modern cloud PC offering, and then still have that flexibility of moving into a cloud PC, use it for an hour, and then give it back to a pool, and then another user can use it. And that's perfect example, Frontline Shared. And now with cloud apps, we can stream the apps separately from the desktop too.
Yep. Yeah, we've been on a long journey across AVD and Windows 365 also with our connectivity story and our apps. So a lot of that works on my team, and we're really proud of the progress we've made on Windows app, getting it cross-plat. We're just about to deprecate March 27th, 2026, MSRDC, and we'll move everybody over to the Windows app, which is already out there. We talked about that. We've also got multipath for our customers who can connect through multiple connections at the same time on either AVD or Windows 365 UDP. And that is it's a relayed connection that provides substantially more connection time before we see somebody have a drop than just TCP alone. So we're really excited. We call that multipath. We're really excited about that innovation. for our customers. We've just seen the data. It's just very, very clear that this is like, really providing a substantial difference. And I think most of our customers today have a different level of expectation than they did even a year ago from us when it comes to the reliability of the connection, the durability of it, and everything around that. So it's exciting set of things. We had a lot on AI. So we had 3 announcements on AI. IT Copilot, so natural language in Intune to be able to query all your Cloud PC deployments, ask it any question you want, just like Intune, but specifically for Windows 365. We have AI-enabled Cloud PCs, which you know a lot about, which is really exciting to bring semantic search and click to do and some of the key features that we have in our Copilot Plus PCs into Windows 365. And then, of course, we have Windows 365 for Agents, which is an exciting new platform built on the Windows 365 platform that we spent the last few years building.
Yeah, I love that. Let's touch a little bit more on that one as well.
Windows 365 for Agents is really is an exciting thing. I got to talk about it at Ignite, as did Pavan, and what we've done. If you think about kind of where the journey that we've been on with Windows Cloud for the last 5 years, is we took the crown jewels of Windows 365 and we've basically made those planet scale. The ability to provision, secure VMs anywhere in the world, make sure that they're reliably accessible, and offer those to humans. We've flipped the script a bit and built the ability to make agents have a computer in the cloud as well. And so those Cloud PCs are now available for humans as well as for agents. The way that we've really seen that market and decided to orient that particular offering is toward the agent builders, as well as toward enterprises. So the agent builders need to be able to have a set of tools to build the agents, and we've provided those tools with Windows 365 for agents, as well as to deploy those agents, a place for them to operate in, and that really fulfills both of those promises. So we're very bullish about it. We're excited to be working with Microsoft Copilot Studio and other first parties as well, like Researcher, as well as some of our early third-party adopters of that platform, and the future is bright.
Yeah, I love that. And I think one of the examples you just called out is using the crown jewels, like the platform, the work we did so far, making Windows available from the cloud, like local from any device, to use that remote portability, let's say it like that, of an agent using a Cloud PC, and then represent somewhat the human interaction you normally do, right?
Yeah. What we saw was that there are reasons why people need computers today, and there's reasons why enterprises trust Windows Cloud. And the reasons why people need computers are because there are 35 million Win32 apps still built on Windows that work great, and they basically run the world's businesses. And the businesses trust them, trust us, and trust Windows Cloud environments because they're secure. They're all the company's data. They're fully managed by Intune. They've got the full power of kind of Microsoft security behind them, Intune, Purview, Defender, all of that, Entra. And so we have a unique capability set when it comes to these things that's very attractive to enterprises and very attractive to human users to get their work done. And agents are really no different. The way we're kind of thinking about agents is that they're going to augment people and really take some of that drudgery away. Like think about line of business application that you have to use for expense reports or whatever. And those kinds of things you don't have to go manually do as a person. You can just have an agent help you with that particular task, and then just bring you the result.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you're referring to, and there are many agents out there that do different tasks and things. And I do think that at some point we will have a library of agents for that specific role, and that's your tool set, and that expands your productivity and be more impactful in what you do. Or what you're alluding to or kind of representing here is computer using agents or computer use as part of Studio Copilot that can represent a human behavior of interacting with a third-party app,
Right.
like a CRM or time registration app or invoicing and all these things, right?
Yeah, exactly. So there's this new class of computer using agents that are really just operating the GUI. And for the long tail of apps out there that don't have APIs and don't have MCP servers, like we're going to need something like that. And so that is software using software to change the interfaces that humans use to kind of get work done.
No, I think you're touching on a great point here. Like if we move applications to web apps, you think about the API surface and make it adaptive for other platforms to hook into. But some apps out there just have a long way to go to get to a web app or maybe an agentic or AI-based powered app, right?
Yeah, and probably never will.
Yeah, because source code is gone or the developer doesn't exist in the company anymore. Many reasons, right?
Yeah.
And I think what you're describing here is that computer use or Windows 365 for agents with the partnerships kind of creates a simulation of to the future of agents, to the old way of interacting with apps, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. Yeah.
So the other part you just talked about is agents and humans, and of course on the news you have people that are like, agents AI is awesome, you should start using it, and there are also people of, hey, it's the end of the world sometimes, making it a little depressing for certain roles that do certain actions that potentially AI can help with, right? So what's your perspective on agents and how they shape the future, and as well the jobs of today, as well as the jobs, let's say, I have been watching many podcasts of, like, for example, Sam Altman and other folks in this space. They only look at like 2 years, 3 years down the road instead of 5 or 10 years down the road. So let's say 2-3 years down the road, what do you see agents doing and helping shaping kind of the role of a person today to the role of the future?
Yeah. Going to your point on jobs, I think jobs is what a lot of people are talking about, kind of what are the jobs of the future. And I think going back to what I was saying a minute ago, I think, we are changing the interfaces that people use to use computers. But it's still about the people, right? It's still about people using software more efficiently to control other software, and making them more productive, making them more creative. Who wants to do expense reports all day? And there are a lot of us who do work every day for our jobs that is probably not the favorite part of our job, right? It's probably not the favorite part of our day. Kind of administrative work, just pushing paper around. I've got to do this thing, and it's less, it's more efficient for me to just get it done and like have somebody else do it, right?
Feels like tax kind of to your...
It's a tax, right? And so those types of activities, if we can get some of that time back, then we're more productive. We've got more time to do, things that make us happy and healthy and really kind of at our best, more creative. So I do think that the key thing for people is going to be upskilling and retraining on how to use the technology, not how to build it. Not everybody knows how to, or needs to know how to build AI. But using AI for our kids and the next generation of workers and even the generation that's here, because this is coming quickly, I think it's going to be really important that people have that training, and are upskilling in that. So this comes with a big transformation. I think when I look ahead, I think we're for the foreseeable future going to be in kind of this agent shift. Using agents to get work done, many agents probably within a workplace. And so with that comes upskilling for workers. It also has a big impact on the business itself to redefine business processes. And that's every industry, every business. Yeah. Right. And so that is going to take time. Some consultants are going to be very busy helping, companies transform themselves. It's in Microsoft's best interest to make sure that happens too, because that'll be helping our customers transform and use this technology. But I think the speed with which this is happening, and sort of the degree of change that we're talking about are just different, kind of than other tech shifts we've seen. We've seen some before that were big and changed some of these same things, but I think this is just changing it on a bigger scale much faster.
Yeah, I love that. And as well, the kind of part of the beginning when you talked about empathy and doing your leadership style in a way of really treat people how you want to be treating yourself as well. Same with like AI, agentic AI, and how we do development of that in Microsoft too, and how we really keep the person in front and center, or human in the loop, kind of how we use it as well as terms. And partners, of course, too, right? Like going back to your history of partner center,
Right.
partners are in front and center of helping us here defining or training and new governance and all these things with customers as well as part of this journey.
Yeah.
Bill Gates, he was at campus, I think it was in January for the 50th anniversary, and he did a readout for his book, like his book from Hey, How Microsoft Started. And he described a couple things in there. He said like the big kind of revolution of the Windows PC happened with Windows 95 at the start menu introduced, and the taskbar, which we pretty much still use today in traditional kind of Windows 11 and then the cloud. He also mentioned that he sees agentic AI or AI in general, generative AI, being just as big, of maybe bigger as a revolution as the revolution of the desktop computer in 1995 and Windows XP, that time frame. Yeah. So the way how we interact with our computers is changing. You kind of represented that with Windows 365 for agents and the computer using agent kind of explanation. Mm-hmm. How do you see that like evolving? Like if we look like a couple years down the road, like are we talking with our computers? Are we still typing? Are we still using keyboard and mouse? Like what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think I feel very fortunate to be working in the space that we're working in. I think Windows was the last kind of big franchise at Microsoft to move to the cloud.
Yeah.
And, the work that we've done to make that a reality has just been so fulfilling, right? Because we've basically, in some ways, made up for some of some of Microsoft's, lack of having a mobile story, because now we can be cross-device. We can be on every platform with Windows. And so we're kind of the everywhere platform. It's a PC on every device that is out there. And that gives us even mixed reality devices. So we have the team working on mixed reality is one of those ways in which you can interact with a cloud PC. You can use it on Android, you can use it on Mac, you can use it on an iPad, and of course Windows, and even the web. What we've done with that is change the way already that people using Windows Cloud interact with computers. Mm-hmm. It's a personal computer, but it really roams with you into those different domains.
Yeah.
And I think that the work that we're doing now on the AI side to kind of agentify Windows itself, with a lot of great work that's happening from the Windows team there, bringing that into the cloud PC so that those features are available up in the cloud, and then also making Windows 365 itself a platform for agent builders to build and deploy their agents, and then have those agents use the computers. That's actually just creating a new way in which all these things can compose and people can use the devices. So to your question of how are people going to use these devices, I think all of the above. And probably in ways that we haven't even thought yet. But I certainly believe that we're going to be talking to devices and having those devices then have a computer using agent that it can go invoke in a cloud PC, do some work, bring it back, maybe write a report, send you an email. You can review it. There's going to be all kinds of workflows like that are just a lot easier to accomplish, even on your daily commute from your phone or some other device than they are today, right? Just a hands-free, different environment type of experience, and doesn't require the mouse and keyboard clicking and typing kinds of IO that we have today. So what I'm excited about is that we're enabling all that. And we'll see, what types of interfaces and interaction modalities really, pop up in the next few years.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is a funny thing on the keyboard and mouse. I think we will be amazed how many times we press a button and click on that mouse on a daily basis, right? Getting rid of that and using more natural language to interact from a phone or another form factor would be amazing, in my opinion. And I think we are at the front end of that shift to happen with Copilot Vision that just got released, where you can do screen sharing and then Copilot is reading off your screen, but also provides you new information and correlate and all these things. It's just amazing.
Okay.
And I also think that as part of the future of Windows, the portability, if we look at apps, let's say SaaS apps, they are all built in the cloud. You can use them from any device. So the standard of using let's say an Copilot interface or an AI agentic agent is everything should be cloud-based. Cloud models leverage cloud, like device agnostic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the best way to do that with Windows is to have also Windows in the cloud and being part of that vision and story, and using like a computer user agent. And you first need to turn on your computer and then step in your car and then connect it. Doesn't really work, right? It needs to be portable. It needs to roam with you. It needs to be available in the cloud, or maybe turn on when you need it on the fly, and then do your task, right? And I think that's just, I think, a phenomenal shift that is about to happen, or we're already in it right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think we're going to enable both local and kind of cloud-based scenarios that you described. But I think that there are a lot of cases where if you're really talking about having this functionality available to you everywhere and anywhere on any device, that's really powerful. And then just being able to kick off a job, in the cloud from your phone, right? Like that's what I want. That helps me a lot, kind of on my daily commute or wherever I might be.
Yeah, it's like a remote control almost for your computer.
Yep.
You can control it wherever you are, independently of the scenario you're in, and I love that. So, as part of we talked about a lot of kind of innovation and new things.
Yep.
But there are a lot of people watching this that are still maintaining traditional infrastructures, environments, group policies, you name it, right? So this could feel like, hey, this is like a big shift for them, leveraging that in their daily routine. What would you recommend for people that are either already trying or not there yet? What would be your recommendation here?
Yeah, I mean, the traditional devices are not going away, and in the foreseeable future, right? I think even though we're talking about giving people access to superpowers when it comes to agents that can do things on their behalf, the creativity and being able to review things and critically analyze things are still going to happen with a person in front of a screen, figuring stuff out, right? And so I think it's going to be an and story. And the advice I would have for people who are thinking about where to get started is, go out to Copilot Studio, use the tools that are out there. They're built on top of Windows 365. Use Researcher. Start doing POCs internally. Use these technologies. Figure out how you can automate processes internally. Give us feedback. We want to hear what's working and what we can improve. But that's the way to get started. It's just to start using the technology and finding simple projects where you can shave time off that are kind of drudgery work.
Yeah, I love that. And pretty much what you're saying is get your hands dirty, try it out, and that's how the brain works best for me too. You read something, and if you don't do it, then it kind of fades to the background slowly. So if you then act on it and do it, that's where it sticks in a certain part in your brain. And we do that all the time with hackathons and such internally in Microsoft as well. So I love that.
I'll just add one more thing, which is that we've talked a lot about being a frontier firm, and this is what a frontier firm needs to do, right? It needs to get the hands dirty, start doing these POCs, use the technology. That is it's required to start this transformation process. It's not a change everything all at once. It's just get started with simple stuff. Find something where you can shave a little bit of time off, do a POC, broaden it to a pilot, have some people use it. That's, I think, the way that this is going to start, creating value for customers.
Yeah, I think the part you're explaining as well is like, let's say you have a fixed and a growth mindset here and you think about certain change, very fixed, you want to kind of hold to it and you don't want to change it that often because it kind of works great and you don't want to touch it. And that mindset sometimes can also be like a risk. And with frontier firms, it's really like take a little bit more of that risk off and try to innovate and move in a different direction. So I think you highlighted that perfectly. So hey, wrapping up here a little bit. This is awesome, by the way. But
Thanks.
for people watching here, this episode, how can people kind of stay in touch with you? Maybe ask some questions as a follow-up or feedback and things like that.
Yeah, LinkedIn's great. I'm out on LinkedIn. That's a good place to get started. And happy to hear from people. And happy holidays.
Well, thanks for being here, Phil.
Yeah,
Always a pleasure. And thank you for watching.